Welcome to this video. In our previous video, we have seen how we can create a table. We have seen the syntax, the sequence what we should be following while creating a table. We have seen the data types and constants we have already looked into in our previous videos. So once your structure or schema of that table is ready, the important stuff is to add data to that because until unless you key in data, the table is of no use, correct? Now let's discuss today how we can insert data into a particular table. Okay, so the syntax shows you how we can create the table, which we have seen already. Okay, in today's video we would see several ways of inserting the data. So first we would see the standard syntax. It's quite simple. The usual or not a complex syntax, right? It's like straightforward syntax, correct? Now we can there are provisions that you can change the order of the column, and then according to that you can add the data. It just gives you the flexibility and tells you that okay, whatever column you keep it in different way, you can just add the data to that particular table. So that flexibility is also available. Now you can do one thing. You can as we see, as we try to write the code and we will try to execute the query, we would see that when we try to insert a data into a table, within parentheses we mention all the columns which needs to be fed with that data. Okay, but there are provisions that if you don't want to specify that entire column list or column names, you can skip that as well. So that we will see. Next, we would see that if we try to skip a particular column while inserting a data, provided that column allows null. Okay, so if that's there, if those are the columns which you don't want to keep it in within the parentheses while inserting the data, that provision is also available. And at the last, we would try to see how we can insert multiple rows at the go. Okay, so let's start with this simple syntax. We will start. So it would be sorry, insert into table student detail. That's something which we have created. Okay, and for right now I will just insert only one data. Sorry. Okay, one row item. So what all columns I have to do? I have to do student ID, first name, last name, phone number, and country. It's default, so I will just skip it right now. Okay, values. So we are saying that okay, insert into this table for these column and what values you want to specify. Again, within the parentheses you have to mention student ID would be 11, first name would be okay, Sharma, okay, and then his phone number would be 12345. Okay, with this I will select this particular stuff and execute. So one row got affected. Very good. Now let's move to this. I will simply copy this just so that we don't have to retype all those stuff. So now let's change the order. So for example, previously student ID was the first. So before phone number, I want to put the student ID. Okay. And then I have to change the data accordingly. So first name would be Ahmed Singh. Okay. So before telephone number, I have to mention the ID. So I'll just delete this. ID would be 22 and phone number would be something like this. Okay, so what we did in previous case, we followed the exact order of the columns, but here we are changing the order of the columns. So if I try to do this, it will say one row affected. So if you change the order, it doesn't matter because as per the order of the columns what you have mentioned within the parentheses, you have to mention the values accordingly. So if you maintain that order, definitely SQL will allow you to add the data. Okay, so skipping the column list. So these are my column list, right, with this table. Correct. Now let's see how we can do that. But one thing you have to keep in mind that if you are trying to skip the column list like this, then it becomes mandatory that you have to mention all the values in exact data format which are present or which are actually present in the table schema. Okay, so in that case we have to mention like this. So 2 2 we have done, 3 3. Let's add someone different. John Smith. Okay, so what is the order? Student ID, first name, last name, phone number. So phone number I will just keep it. Okay, whatever phone number. And country also I have to mention. Either I would mention default as India, so I will just try to mention Australia. Okay, so once I do this, I'll just simply click on this, select. Again, one row is affected, so it doesn't matter, right? Now let's copy this again. Now here we are trying to skip a particular column, but provided that column can allow null. So here we could see that phone number is something which should be unique, but it's not necessary that you have to key in a phone number. So phone number column can allow null. So we will come here and we will delete phone number. Country anyway, it's a default, so we can skip it like that. So phone number I don't want. I'll just skip it, delete it. So 4 would be, sorry. Okay. So right now I have skipped the phone number. I'm trying to key in only student ID, first name and last name. If I do this, okay, again one row got affected. Very good. Now let's try to add multiple rows. Okay. So student ID, first and last name, phone number. So I will try 55. Then I will say Takamari. Okay. And telephone number would be something around, okay, whatever. So once you enter like this, again to enter in multiple row or second row, just add a comma and start with again with the parenthesis. Again the same way you can just keep on writing. Okay, so I would say, okay, like this, and then I would specify some phone number, random. Okay, right? So by doing this, you can just keep on adding whatever or number of rows you want to add. But right now I'll just show you 2 rows, but just you have to uh, put the value within the parentheses and put a comma, and then you can keep on adding number of rows you want to add to that data. I'll just select on this and execute. 2 rows got affected. Fine. Now let's see. Select all table data. Okay, so now you could see that all the data are entered properly. That in this, we skipped the entire column list, but we have to add. So we just added Australia. We can also add India to that, no problem. But here we could see that as we skip the phone number, it gives as a null value, correct? So with this 5 different steps you can use to update or insert data to your table. And there are several other methods. Just you can right click and import the data, but that is specific to SQL Server. But from a SQL query perspective, this create and insert data will help you to create the table and insert the respective data to the respective tables. Thank you for watching this video.